it was never officially lifted before, and then continued with that event center again.
Is the request over here?
I believe so. Ms. Reese, are you about that?
Yeah. Kirsten Reese. So half of these pictures are my personal home. That's my home. And that shouldn't even be in it. That's my home. That's 301 Bob Hay Road. My business is across the street, and after this 2019, I've got emails, I've got everything that says I was good to go after this. I even came in and was approved super quick after this, and this was before you came, and it was in the meeting. I think even Marshall was there as well in the meeting stating I was approved, I'd fixed everything. I spent $16,000 fixing everything to be able to do weddings again. And then all of the codes were switched around. It's like, I was grandfathered in at that point because we just kept changing the codes because I was one of the first barn venues in Sumner County. And then I got grandfathered in for certain things. But like my electric, I redid the entire electric thing. I had to add a door so you couldn't get upstairs, and all of that's been done. And then the personal building you guys are talking about, that's on my personal property that I live at across the street.
Thank you.
Okay.
I think it would be appropriate. I don't think our staff has all the documentation. I think we need the documentation. I agree that possibly a deferral for 30 or 60 days would be appropriate to get our staff and the requestor to get together and see if we can hang against them. What's the will of the board?
I agree, Chair, and I'll make a motion for deferral. I would assume 30 days would provide the opportunity for the documentation and a review out there.
I'll second
I have a motion and a second to defer for 30 days. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. We have deferred this item for 30 days. Okay, the next item on the agenda, Larry K. Table and Raymond J. McAllister, 481 Two-Town Road, Orville. Josh?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Mr. Chairman, this is a little bit of an unusual request. I mean, it was one of those things that, to be honest, it might could have gone in a couple of different directions. We would typically, when it comes to events and that kind of stuff, when we start hearing things about events, we'll typically hear in the direction of the board of zoning appeals more often than not. What this is a special exception request. It's been submitted by the applicant, Larry Abel, requesting BZA authorization to legally utilize an existing and proposed accessory structure on site for storage related to a Nashville-based events business. And so they're proposing to live on the subject property as well that they own. And so we're classifying this under a major home-based business heading. BZA may look at this and feel like this is overkill, to be honest with you. But these kinds of things, just our experience, and certainly at the BZA level, y'all's experience has been that things tend to evolve over time. And so, this is I'll get into some of the specifics as far as I know on the property owners. I believe are here this evening can explain what's proposed. Property zone rural residential, takes a total of 56.86 acres scattered across a couple of tracts here. This was deferred last month for a couple issues that we were working through with the owner. Adjoining property owners were notified by certified mail when it was advertised in the Gallatin News Standard on March 28th. This is the subject property here that these folks, I believe they own it at this time. If they don't, they have it under contract, I think. They did at one point. I'm not sure if they closed on the property at this time. They've been very, very cooperative with us, as we kind of looked at it and tried to figure out what was going to be required, for this. This is the public notice that we put in the paper here. And so they provided a business summary to us, and so what they're saying that they're doing is at this time anyway, they're the proposed owners of this property, proposing to build a 100 by 100 pole barn structure adjacent to an existing 40 by 70 pole barn structure on the property. After completion, what they propose to do is basically rent it back to a business that they own. LMNOP Holdings LLC to use as dead storage for a business that they have where they do events, which I think range anything from anything like movie sets to different kinds of events. And they store props, furniture, dressing, all the stuff that you see there, all kinds of different things. No hazardous materials or anything like that is proposed to be stored there. There's no work to be done for these structures other than loading and unloading of the trucks. And they provided hours of operation, so 9 a.m. dark on a few times a month when they have trucks coming back in there to access this, to drop off equipment or pick it back up again. We classified it as a home-based business because they're proposing to live here on the property, and there's a business that's being operated out of these structures. This is the special exception application that they turned in here. And this is just an exhibit of the properties that they own. And this is the plot plan that was provided by Mr. Tim Carmen, showing one of the tracks here where the existing building, proposed building, or proposed to go. So there's an existing structure here, and there's another one that would be proposed to go back in here. They live on the track that they own, or will live anyway on the track. I think it's across the way here. There's a house over here. This is one thing I'll caveat this in that this is one of those farms that's been cut up with an access road. It's extremely difficult to figure out where you're at and what property you're looking at and what buildings you're looking at. I mean, you go out to take pictures and that kind of thing. And so we did this. But this is the sign that they put at the road here along Keytown Road. Public notice sign. And this is where you see the road cuts back in. Serves a number of different properties back in there. It's our understanding that this is the existing building that's there. And I think this is the building here, and there's a house over here on this side. Is that the neighbors? Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll have to ask the property owners to come up here. And the first time my staff went out there, they couldn't find this place at all. And so it's when we've had conversations with the 911 director about some of this stuff. Home-based business, the reason we classified it as a major home-based business, minor home-based businesses are allowed by right, staff and approval. Major home-based businesses have to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals. There are basic requirements for home-based businesses generally. We can go through those in detail if y'all want to. What hung this one right here up is that minor home-based businesses shall not use more than 25% of their gross floor area or principal structure. Minor home-based businesses can only be conducted using 500 square feet of an accessory structure. These structures are a whole lot bigger than 500 square feet. And so 100 by 100 is one of them, so you're talking thousands of square feet. And so that's not something that we can approve as a minor home-based business. So it has to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals with that reading. So that's the bigger check mark there, goes to the Board of Zoning Appeals. And so the specific requirements, we found that they're all met by the applicant as far as number of employees that are none on site. No business vehicles on site or stored. There will be vehicles coming and going from time to time. The BZA can approve the use of the entire structure. Again, staff can't do that. BZA can require additional parking, if you want to. No more than 10 customer client visits in a day, we don't see that happen, this is a few times a month. No signage or anything like that is required. No outdoor storage, everything is to be stored inside the buildings. Our findings for special exceptions, we don't see any impact on public health, safety, or welfare, any issues like that necessarily. No adverse impact to other property. It appears to conform to applicable provisions in the county zoning resolution as far as customer visits, merchandise delivery. The only question the BZA really might have is what kind of trucks are going to be coming and going. Is this are there tractor trailers? Because that little access road is probably not suitable for a whole lot of really heavy truck traffic, so that might be a question. These are pole barns. There's many thousands of them across the county, so it's compatible with their area. So, Mr. Chairman, there's example motions on the screen. Example conditions of approval. First being it has to meet home-based business requirements. Obtain a CO if code still feels like that's necessary. I don't know on something like this whether that degree is of permitting is going to be needed. Any proposed expansion of the use needs to be approved by the BZA prior to being undertaken. It's for a removal 2-year period. That concludes my presentation.
McAllister, he's come forward and state your name for the record, and is there anything you're here to add to the presentation? State your name.
But I'm Raymond McAllister. I'm one of the owners at 451 Keytown Road. A couple things I'd like to add, because it sounds a little confusing from this side of it. When you say home-based business, our business is in Nashville, and so we don't work out of that space. We live on the property, and we had closed on the property since then. It was in escrow at the time, and we have about 30,000 square feet on Dickerson Pike in Nashville, and so we end up storing shows after they're done for our customers because they want to use them next year. And so I end up with a lot of sets and furniture pieces and all that kind of stuff. And I now have too much. And so when we bought this space, it was with the intention of putting a bigger barn out there and to get that stuff out of our way and stop paying full retail for storage. And it will be a business expense, and so basically I'm charging myself for the space. Again, when it comes to what kind of trucks are going to be coming out there, it's a 16-foot box truck. That's basically it. There was a comment made about the road. So every year we have to re-gravel the road, so the road's probably going to get re-graveled soon. So that's when I was talking with my neighbors about that 2 days ago. And in terms of what types of things will be stored there will be nothing that is flammable, nothing that, no paints, no gas, no nothing. We keep all that in Nashville because we use it. So this is just dead stock storage. And, if someone goes out there twice in a week, it will be a rarity. And that's kind of it. Does anybody have any questions that were unclear that I
I have a question. The driveway serving the 3 lots you own.
One more time,
The
please.
driveway serving the lots that you own, is that also, is any other property owners use that driveway as well?
Okay, so, the piece of land that we're on was a farm that was chopped up into a bunch of places, and so, I want to say maybe there's 13 plots, and so,
Does anyone else have a legal right to use that driveway beside you?
Yes.
Are there any restrictions on the use of that driveway that could create a problem too? Specifically, we had it before where commercial use of a private driveway created issues.
Correct.
And I think we need to have an answer to that.
So you're asking if any of the people that also use that land have an objection to it? The neighbors that I've spoken to don't have an objection to it. I can't legally speak for them, but, if there's damages to the driveway that makes it unsafe for people, then my company can come in and they can fix it.
We, Sumner County, have no control over private restrictions, private easements. However, I would suggest that you look into it, because I don't say that the county can be held out for it, but I do see that it could become a real issue. It has in the past. That was all I had. Any other board member have any questions on this request? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next person that signed up is Vernon Lee. Please come forward, state your name and address.
Yes, sir. Vernon Lee, 367 Keytown. Our property adjoins to the left of that driveway as you come in. That was my questions about the driveway. We bought that property back in November and in process of building on it now. So that was my main concern, was the driveway and the traffic and the type of traffic that's going to be coming in and out. I mean, the driveway's pretty rough as it is. Wanting to know what type of vehicles is coming in and out of that driveway. That driveway it lines the entire left side of my property. Usually I think it's about 13 different plots out there. So if you pull that map back up, as soon as you turn into that driveway, my property starts on the left-hand side. So mine's actually lot 13, I believe. Yeah, 13 is my lot, so it's in the front. Starting from the road out there in Keytown, going all the way back, it's 13 acres there. And that was one of my main concerns, is this driveway. I know there's an easement off that driveway because we just got to build the barn out there. So I was just kind of curious on the upkeep and the type of traffic that's going to be coming in and out. And according to the deed, I think it states that every 2 years, the property owners are responsible for re-graveling that driveway at a cost split between the property owners that have access and use of that driveway. So that's the clarity that I was looking for on that, is on that driveway side of it and what type of vehicles that's going to be coming in and out of there.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Those are the only two people that have signed up to speak to this request. Is there anyone else that would care to speak? This is a public hearing. Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing and open for discussion. Josh, I don't know if maybe council can answer this. Can we request clarification of the easement rights to that driveway as it pertains to set up residentially? I am still concerned about commercial use, and the residences combine the two and sometimes like all at once.
I don't speak for Lou Grandson. I think the BZA can request whatever you want to have a more complete picture of what's before you. I generally have always tried to steer the BZA away from quasi-enforcement of private restrictions whenever possible. But that said, you don't want to create problems either. But, you know, even just tearing the driveway off pieces, I don't think the BZA would have the authority to make them go in and fix the driveway necessarily, because that's a private access road. And so it gets off into, the private side, it gets into a quagmire a little bit, where the county doesn't really have a lot of authority.
Except that it has come for us for approval of a commercial use on this. And I'm just concerned, personally concerned, that we headed off the path, so to speak, or just carte blanche approval of this request.
And I think that's a valid point, and that's something that, you know, I bore everybody to death with every one of these, required findings that we have. If you look at what they say, it talks about, you know, is this project going to, is it designed, located, proposed to be operated so that the public health, safety, and welfare will be protected? Number one, you can see how that would fit. Will not adversely affect other property in the area. You can see how this would fit. This is more of a zoning thing, conforms to the zoning requirements, so this will apply in that situation. Shall be located so as to be compatible with the surrounding area and provide safety to those using the facility. So you can see how there's certain things in there that are within the BZA's discretion. And so if more information is needed on that driveway, then I'm sure it could be requested for sure.
Discussion? Yes, sir.
I would like to point out that Mr. Sutton, I agree with him on that. This becomes a privity issue which the county doesn't have as far as the adjacent property owners. All we can do is put something out there, say this is what you intend to operate under, and if they violate that, we have some enforcement provisions for those violations, but as far as the other property owners, that's something they're gonna have to hammer out themselves. We're not gonna wanna be a party to some sort of mandate that later has to be litigated between the owners. So just for some clarity on that, that's my suggestion.
Thank you. Other discussion? A motion?
I'll make a motion to approve, for example, motion 1 with A, B, C, and D.
We have a motion to approve with items, example motion number 1,
I'll second.
and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Opposed?
No.
3 ayes, 1, 2 noes. Motion passed.
And Mr. Chairman, one of the conditions there is that this will need to come back every 2 years to the Board of Zoning Appeals. And so the BZA will have an opportunity every 2 years to deny it. We send letters to the adjoining property owners requesting that they can own every one of those renewals. And so this is something that the BZA will see again.
Order access to favor, second.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
item number 3, David and Kristen South. Josh?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a special exception request related to design and occupancy standards for accessory dwelling units. As per Chapter 11, Section 101 of the county zoning resolution. What this exception is related to is the characteristics of a proposed pole barn. That's proposed to be utilized as an accessory dwelling. This property is on rural residential, contains 1.94 acres. We notified the adjoining property owners by certified mail. It was advertised in the Gallup News and Interest Standard late last month. This is the subject property. You can see there's an existing house here that was permitted through the county a couple of years ago, I think, fairly recently. I believe there was an old house at one time here that burned down or something like that years ago. They're proposing to put this pole barn structure pretty much where this is. And of course, they gave us a plot plan and all that. We'll show you exactly what we need. This is property, as everybody might know, that area around Liberty Lane is pretty flood prone, but this area is outside the 100-year floodplain. This is that public notice that was in the paper. This is the zoning compliance. Of course, they come to us, fill out a zoning compliance application, tell us what they want to do, review it, and make a determination on whether it meets zoning compliance. On this one, we had asked for more info, because it looked like they might be asking for an accessory dwelling unit. So they set up a meeting with Ms. Young at my office and had that pre-application meeting, and then submitted this special exception application. And so in their application, what they say is that they're requesting a special exception for the following items. These folks were very thorough in their application in terms of what they were asking for and why they needed this to do this. First is exterior materials, and second is the existing driveway. And so I'll show in the code what it is that they need to deviate from. But basically, our code says the accessory dwelling is required to look like the primary dwelling. They have the same materials, same roof shape, same roof materials, cover schemes, those kind of things. And second, it says that the accessory dwelling can't be served by the existing driveway. Or, I'm sorry, can't be served by a second driveway. And kind of drill down a little bit more, it says you can't do that, staff can't approve it if you don't meet those requirements. But what it does say is that we can forward it to the Board of Zoning Appeals, and the BZA can review it in light of those findings. In fact, I was talking about earlier, and the BZA can approve it. So, again, our ADU requirements are contained in Chapter 11.11.1 of our code. ADUs that come in and meet all of our requirements can be approved administratively by staff, provided that all zoning requirements are met. And so there's general provisions for ADUs, things like we need a plot plan, you got to pay your fees, those kinds of things. BZA can't waive that. Design occupancy standards, BZA has flexibility on, and these particular standards for by right ADUs, BZA does as well. So what the zoning resolution provides is that if you need to deviate from these two here, you can request a special exception from the BZA, but staff can't approve them. We can approve the ones that are basically slammed up, that look great and shouldn't cause an issue. If there's something that might raise questions, then it goes to the Board of Zoning Appeals. So these are those specific standards I was talking about here, design and occupancy standards, and this is text taken straight out of our zoning code. It says an ADU shall be designed to maintain the architectural design, style, appearance, and character of the principal residence. The ADU must be consistent with or visually match the existing facade, roof pitch, siding, and windows of the primary residence. D, a separate driveway providing exclusive access to the ADU from a road shall not be allowed unless problematic lot-specific circumstances necessitate separate driveway access as determined by the planning director. And you have to be the special exception from the BZA if you can't meet those standards. The BZA is authorized to act on them and to grant exceptions from those standards if appropriate. So this is the plot plan that they turned in here. You see the existing house, and you see the second dwelling, the pole barn that they're proposing to put here. You can see setback-wise, it meets requirements. It meets our primary setbacks on the sides, and it's even with the house as it faces the road. The structure can't be forward of the house. You see septic lines here marked out. They provided some septic documentation for the house, and there's an existing septic tank again for that old house that used to be here that they're proposing to utilize, which can be done. There's some kind of disclaimer that's issued by the building codes department that love to do that. So septic is an issue. This is the existing home. So again, what we do is we look at, when they come in with an ADU application, we look at the existing home, and we look at what's proposed. And if they look pretty much the same, we don't get to, Franklin, Brentwood level of granular detail, but if they look reasonably similar, we generally, we'll try to find a way to improve it. But if they don't, then it goes to the BZA. And so the existing house is, pole barn is, it is a, there's nothing wrong with it. It's standard metal pole barn, I apologize. I'm sorry. And so the structure, it's a 2-bedroom structure here. You got me overcoat. This is the septic permit here for the main house. And this is a letter from the T-Day folks about the old septic system that's outside. The staff went out and took pictures of the subject property. You see here, it's a vacant lot right now, that vacant side of the lot. We see the main house is right over here. So
what we're looking at is, we can read it, keep staff interpretation, no impact to public health and safety. Next one. No proposed appearance of the primary and accessory dwelling shall not adversely affect other property in the area. That's proposed ADU is typical of other pole barns in the area, and it is. I've been through there recently. Item number 3, that it conforms to all applicable provisions of the resolution for the district in which it is to be located, and is necessary for public convenience in that location, and if applicable, meets specific standards. Staff interpretation, it does not violate ADU standards related to the driveway or the standards to the design and appearance of the ADU. Obviously, the stone structure and the gables and don't resemble, other than color, a metal bar. So that's what we have to do, is make that determination. Number 4 should be located so as to be compatible with surrounding area and provide safety for those using the facility. Staff interpretation, proposed use is residential, areas surrounding is residential, all applicable permits and inspection by the county building codes office will be required. Example motion, number 1, found requirements, and you can read it. I don't have to read that unless he wants it in the record. But we're handling it going in there. So bottom line is we have example motions to approve with conditions, to find that the requirements have not been met, or to defer this item. Is that how you read it?
Yes, sir, you should have plan. I appreciate that, thank you. I was really struggling there for this minute, but she gave me a couple of that.
Has anyone signed up? Okay, no one has signed up for this public hearing. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to this request? Is David or Kristen South here? Do you have anything you'd like to add to the presentation? Come forward, state your name, for the record, please.
So it's a 36 by 70 pole barn with primary house inside. So half of it's for my shop, half for my wife's grandparents. So that's all.
You own the house, you feel like detrimental to your home or the value of your house?
I wouldn't be building it if I thought it was running value. So we got barns, houses on our neighbors, barns across the street. I think it'll be.
Any questions on the request on it? Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anyone else care to speak to this request? Seeing no one, will close the public hearing. You look like you want to speak.
I was just gonna say, one question we always get on these, from people, we had some folks call about this, they saw the sign, they thought it was apartments going in or something like that. Well, we explained what it was, folks weren't too upset about it. But one thing we get a lot of questions about is, is this gonna turn into an apartment? Is it gonna be an Airbnb and those kinds of things? And so we do require, if there's a deed restriction that has to be reported on this property that prohibits that as part of this process. And so I just want to make sure that DCA do that. That there's back-end protections. This has to be for family members and guests and that kind of thing.
Thanks, Judge. Are there, I do know that the property to the west as a farm has been, for long as I can remember, is in a floodplain, has been long as I can remember. But that's about it. Any questions or discussion? Is there a motion?
I'll motion for number one with both A and B.
We have a motion to approve with, example, motion number one. Is there a second?
I'll second it, but
There is a second.
I think I need to ask Josh a question. And it's probably mostly about the floodplain. Is that something that the county engineer would normally look at and require some sort of, it's fairly low area on that side, and I don't know if that's something that's acceptable.
This property normally is, how I know it's
I think it's well.
20, considerably higher than the station camp.
And the reason I'm asking is because I know Mr. Dixon used to drive his tractor to the creek right there at that spot. And it was kind of a little, I believe what you're correct. The house sits up a little higher, but I just don't want to take any chance that something's being built, somebody building something about at least having county engineers take a glance at it.
We'll certainly, of course, it's not in the floodplain side. I don't know that we would have the like regulatory basis to require any kind of raising it or anything like that, but we'll absolutely have Marshall take a look at it. And, if he has any concerns there with how it's going to sit or anything, then we can work with the property owner on that.
And I really don't think it is in the floodplain. I just know that those GIS maps can oftentimes be pretty inaccurate, not reflect a lot of detail like that.
Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Opposed, like sign, motion carries unanimously. Item number 4, Robert and Nicole Zastel. Josh, you ready up to this?
I'll do my very best.
Read well. And if I need to read, I'll be glad to.
Okay, so this is a request for a special session for property on the New Deal Fox Road. What they're requesting is it's a major home-based business application for a trash service business to be operated from the subject property called the BPG Disposal. Joining property owners notified by certified mail was advertised on March 28th. The Gallatin News and Nashville Standard. This is that notice. This is an aerial of the subject property here. And just kind of pull it back. This is just more of a perspective shot. New Deal Fox Road right here. That's Clearview Road. What initiated this one, us to reach out to them, we've got an unpermitted business complaint form. As everybody may know, the county doesn't operate a trash service area like the city of Gallatin or some counties might have. And so it's very decentralized. There are innumerable trash pickup services across the county. ranging from really big to pretty small. This is a really small one, that pick up people's trash and take it, and by and large to the resource authority here in Gallatin. And so we've gotten undocumented business complaint, we get these from time to time. We had another one, I believe, on a piece of property on Corinth Road, if you remember, a year or two ago. They got permitted as a major home-based business as well, by the PCA. But this one, again, we got an inquiry about it, reached out to the property owners, they were very receptive, met with us virtually via Zoom a while back. I worked with Mr. Graves, the surveyor, to get a plot plan and everything that they need to do to get this application turned in. Their application, their special exception application is a little bit unclear on what they were proposing to do, and so they did obtain Mr. Graves to help them through this process. So they did provide a point-by-point clarification on the county's home-based business requirements. A little bit hard to read, I can zoom in on that if anybody wants me to. But what they're saying is that this meets major home-based business requirements, and that there's one additional employee that doesn't live on site that comes, they're allowed to have up to 3. Two business vehicles on the premises. They have 3, I guess, with this smell. It's not to be parked in the public right of way. We might need some clarification on how many vehicles there are. There's a home office that's used for bookkeeping duties as part of this. That's fine. No additional parking. Mr. Craig says the property as is will not require additional parking since there's only one additional vehicle that would need to park during the workday for that other employee. No more than 10 customer client visits in any one day. No more than 5 customer clients to be present at any one time. There are no clients that come here. This is a tractor pickup service. And it's not an unpermitted use, so the BZA is allowed to grant major home-based business permits for this use. Storage for the 3 trash trucks that return to the residents in the evenings. No other storage is requested, and there's no signage. They don't want people coming to the property. This is the plot plan for the subject property. So there's a gravel parking area proposed right here. This is where I believe they intend to keep all the equipment, and they currently do keep the equipment that's there on site. This is a septic area which has a little bit of an impediment to them being able to put stuff back behind the house. BZA can talk a little bit more about that if you want to. There's an existing carport in the building here. Well, okay. Won't go through all of that, kind of review those. Probably the only question that we had was we're always going to send these trash pickup services to the BZA, basically just because there's potential for them to be something that, so we're not going to approve them as a minor home-based business. They're going to be a major home-based business. That's why this one, as much as anything, and another one that got approved a while back ended up here. The primary question that I think is outstanding is the number of vehicles. They're allowed 2. I was thinking they had 2, but it looks like they have 3. So I have some clarification on what vehicles those are. Not saying BZA couldn't approve it as proposed, but maybe some clarification from them on what vehicles, are these trash trucks or pickup trucks, or what kind of vehicles they're keeping on site. Photos of the subject property here. See that this is the house. There's a trailer, carport kind of a structure here. And this is where I believe the equipment and other items will be stored right in here. I don't know whose vehicles these are, that level of detail on the property. These may be personal vehicles. There is and looks like an older truck there. I don't know if that's inoperable or if that's one of the vehicles that they keep to make runs with and that kind of thing. That's pretty good in there. One of the vehicles there. required findings, is it, designed, located, proposed to be operated so that public health, safety, and welfare will be protected. This use is on a minor collector road, so Newville Potts Road is a pretty good road from the county's perspective. It's functionally classified in our major thoroughfare plan. This is a pretty limited use, so it's not going to generate significant traffic or heavy trucks or anything. Site distance on Newville Potts Road here, this location is good. There could be additional buffer plantings required if BZA so chooses. We'll go back to the plot plan, but there's a good bit of existing tree cover there. We've added a condition of approval permitting any overnight storage of trash or junk. And there's a two-year renewal. Will not adversely affect other property in the area. Again, buffer plantings, no overnight storage renewals. I have here appears to conform to the major home-based business requirements. I believe we've gotten a revised letter from Mr. Graves to change a few things. So I think there might be a little discrepancy in the number of vehicles. So I need to fill into that just a little bit more. The proposed use is on a 2.83 acre lot. So this is, as far as compatibility, we got a good bit of tree cover to the north and the west, and along the south lot line as well. It's on a pretty good road, as I said, not going to generate much traffic, and the conditions about storage of junk overnight and other factors in here. And so, Mr. Chairman, there's example motions on the screen there, A through D, the conditions are A through D. A being they meet the home-based business requirements ongoing, obtain any permits that are required as far as code permits, that kind of thing. 2-year renewal. Again, no junk kept on site. County staff is authorized to make inspections. We have a couple of people signed up to speak on that.
This is a public hearing. I've got 2 people that are signed up. Robert Todd Bustle.
I'm the owner of the business. I thought it was signed sheet. My apologies.
Pat Gonzalez. What state your name?
Gonzalez. And the only thing I'm concerned about are the trucks, how many trucks he's gonna have there. And if there's gonna be any trash, that's kept there. And I was told it was going to affect the property, the property there, our property. Yeah, so that's all I'm concerned about.
Thank you. Mr. Bustle, do you have anything to add to the presentation?
No, just a clarification.
If you come forward, your name and address.
Robert Mestel, owner of BPG Disposal. There is 3 trucks, and that blue truck up front was a parts truck. It's something that we were going to have fixed and just haven't got it fixed yet. So, all the trucks will be pushed to the back of the yard where you won't see them from the front road frontage, and we plan on planting more trees. We were waiting on the plot plan to come through to get the property staked out, to run trees down the sides of the property and more up towards front with the privacy fence, up more by the camper. So that's all I have.
Does any member of the board have questions of this request order?
You said you currently have 3 trucks, and then you have 1 getting repaired. Will that make 4 trucks? You'll be parking?
That's correct. That would be 4.
Okay, so you'll be running those daily and parking those on site?
No, it's more of with a small business, the thing that we lose most customers on is reliability. So in order, you have trash you want picked up, you want to make sure it's picked up. So when a truck is down for maintenance, I have to send it off to get fixed. Then I have to use a backup truck. So it's basically the primary AED, and then a secondary for both of them in the event that there's a blowout or a transmission or whatever that goes wrong.
Okay, for clarification, But you will be storing 4 trucks overnight on the
Yes.
site.
Yes, for sure.
Whatever the, one's backup.
Sorry, I misunderstood that.
Mr. Harris?
The cars that were parked on the site, do you have a number of how many of those are typically on the site? Is it during the day?
For, like employees,
Yeah.
one, he's part-time. I used to work with him in a factory. He comes over in the morning, he runs around for 4 hours, he comes back, he gets his car and he leaves. He works Monday, every Monday, and then every other Friday and Saturday. And because the truck, was in the driveway, I think I was changing the tire, that's why the van and the truck are in the, right there by the Perry Tree. You're welcome.
Anyone else care to speak to this request? Seeing no one will close the public hearing, open the floor for discussion and/or motion. I think if you're considering a motion to approve, I think it's important that we follow the commitment the requestor made, and that is, I think we need a site plan that staff can approve for additional trees. And I think we need the commitment that the trucks will be put behind the house outside the road.
May I ask Mr. Buster a question?
Thank you, Rob.
May I ask Mr. Buster a question? Do you live in the house that's on that property?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's all the question I have. Thank you.
And that's an important point, and it is a home-based business, and so one of the things that the BZA over the years, we kind of evolved with the home-based business process is a little bit more flexibility because the people live there, right? Because one of the things that we've noticed, and it's really anecdotal, but when you grant a special exception for some kind of a business that, a standalone business, let's say a car mechanic, where the guy doesn't live there or whatever, those, frankly, they tend to get pretty high impact because nobody lives there. There's typically been a little bit more flexibility afforded to home-based businesses because the person who lives there is more inclined to take care of it and be less intrusive to the neighbors and that kind of thing. And so there's a little bit of flexibility built into the process to the extent possible.
So, Mr. Chairman, I agree with you about additional screening and really we need a drawing on how this is going to look. I would suggest. The only other concern I've got is we're talking about 2 max and we've got 4 vehicles stored overnight. If we do approve this, I would like to see something added about, that's it. I'm looking for has that current size, but something like that. That's 2 concerns I've got on this.
That could easily be put into the motion as part of, as one of the requirements. Chair will entertain a motion.
One of the things, and I know what you're talking, I'm sorry, but one of the things about this particular type of use that makes it a little bit, it makes it a challenge, but that it is important, is that when we deal with these things, these kinds of tractor cut services, good bit, the county doesn't, we're not in this business, right? But somebody has to be. And the county doesn't go around rezoning property industrial or something for people to put these things all the time. And most of them are very, very small operators that there's no way they can afford to do that. That was not business. And so in this context, I keep talking about these findings of fact. It's very important to think about what they mean, though. This finding of fact up here is necessary for the public convenience at that location. And so it's very important to have these guys scattered around the county, being able to do business in a way that doesn't cause their neighbors problems. And so that's where we have to keep an eye on things like this too, make sure it doesn't turn into a real problem that you know, because it's very obvious how this can turn into something that's a nightmare, you know. And so I think we have to keep a close eye on it. So if BZA wanted to have a one-year renewal or whatever, there's lots of options there as far as more frequent renewal and that kind of thing. If there's concerns about additional vehicles or junk pile or anything like that.
I remind the board that we had a very similar circumstance, very few months ago, that came before us.
So, I'll make a motion, for example, 1, A, B, C, and D, I want to add, to that motion, that the applicant submit a buffer plan for landscaping that can be considered and would need to be accepted by the staff, and that the limitation of, say, 4 trucks, thank you, for the site.
And that's 4 trucks operable or inoperable.
Correct.
Is there a second?
I'll second that, but I would like to add that they are checked every year rather than every 2 years.
I'm sorry, that
I would like to add, I'll second, but I would like to add that they're checked every year rather than every 2 years.
will the maker of the motion add that to his motion?
Yeah, that's fine.
Maker of the motion added that to that.
Thank
We
you.
all, we still have one motion. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimously. Any other business, John?
Mr. Chairman, the only thing I wanted to add is that we have managed to fill our vacant assistant county planner position. City Simpson came on board this week just in time for me to get sick and be out of the office most of the week, and so I haven't really had a chance to talk to her very much, but I'm sure she's going to be great. But she'll be helping. I need all the help I can get with the BZA stuff and other things. She's going to be helping a lot with BZA in the coming months and providing a lot of assistance. And so we look forward to working with her.
Welcome aboard. Need one more motion.
Motion to adjourn.
I see a second. All in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. We are adjourned.
Every 2 years.